wanted to do this. Well, good afternoon. In accordance with the board's bylaws, as acting chairperson, I will now call the February quarterly meeting of the Board of Trustees of Illinois State University to order at 10:06 p.m. 2:06. See, it's supposed to be. Sorry about that. I note for the record that notice of today's meeting was posted in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act, and that the public has been notified of the date, time, and location of this meeting. As included in the notice of the meeting, the university has provided a YouTube link that allows all interested persons to contemporaneously view the meeting and hear all discussion and votes. Trustee Navarro, will you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Bone.
Present.
Trustee Ebekumi.
Present.
Trustee Jenkins.
Present.
Trustee Jones.
Present.
Trustee Merminga. Trustee Navarro, present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Navarro. Last week, the Office of the Governor appointed 2 new trustees to the board, and we're excited to welcome Dr. Leah Merminga and Scott Jenkins. Trustee Merminga is unable to be with us today, but Trustee Jenkins is here, and we're happy to have him join us. Trustee Jenkins, would you please approach and take the oath of office? Try to do this so they can still hear.
Okay.
Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Illinois,
and the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Board of Trustees
of the office of the Board of Trustees
of Illinois State University
of Illinois State University
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
welcome. We're thrilled to welcome you, and we look forward to working together to benefit Illinois State University during the coming year. Would you like to say a few words? Yes or no, right?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm thrilled and honored to be part of this great legacy of the oldest public university in Illinois, and I can't wait to get started. So thank you so much for your confidence.
And thank you so much for being here. You have before you the agenda for today's meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Julie Jones
Navarro will second.
and Navarro, second. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Before moving on to the approval of meeting minutes, we're going to take a moment to congratulate Illinois State's Lincoln Academy of Illinois Student Laureate, Matthew Huseman. And I may have mispronounced your name. Okay. Each year, the Lincoln Academy awards one senior student from each of the state's four-year degree granting colleges and universities for excellence in curriculum and extracurricular activities. Matthew, will you please join me at the podium? So Matthew, as I understand, you're a senior from Chatsworth, Illinois, and you've been selected to receive the Illinois State University Student Laureate Award from the Lincoln Academy of Illinois due to your overall success as an engaged student, active citizen, and scholar. You're going to graduate with honors from Illinois State University in May of 2023 with a bachelor's degree in geology. And as an ROTC member since freshman year, you will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the aviation branch of the Army, which I want to give you a Earlier this year, Matthew received the most prestigious university-wide honor bestowed on an undergraduate student, the Bone Scholarship. No relation to me. This award is presented to undergraduate students who combine excellent academic achievement and community engagement activities on and off campus with exceptional qualities of character and leadership. The competition for this scholarship is rigorous, and He was one of the few students to receive this award for the 2022-2023 academic year. Matthew is an Illinois State Geology Club ambassador, a paraprofessional for CUSD number 8, and gives time to restore prairie lands in Illinois. He's also working to create a new ham radio registered student organization on campus. Additionally, his research is contributing to work with rare earth element deposits, which are needed as raw materials to develop sustainable sources of energy and combating the accumulation of atmospheric CO2 and associated global warming. Matthew, today I have the honor of presenting you with a letter and a certificate of merit signed by Governor Pritzker, a Lincoln medallion, and a challenge coin. Matthew has also received a monetary award provided by the Lincoln Academy. So you're taller than me. And the coin. Congratulations. Please join me again in congratulating Matthew. We're certainly proud of you, Matthew, and your many achievements, and also extend our congratulations to your family. We will now move ahead with the business of today's meeting. You have before you the meeting minutes of November 3 to 4, 2022, and December 16th, 2022. Could I have a motion and a second to review and approve the minutes of the November 3 and 4, 2022, and December 16th, 2022 meeting?
So moved.
Second. Trustee Abakumi and Trustee Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of the November 3 to 4, 2022 and December 16th, 2022 meeting are approved. Next on the agenda is public comments. We do have someone who has indicated interest in making public comments to the board today. In accordance with the established and recorded policy, the Board of Trustees will allow up to 30 minutes in total for public comments and questions during a public meeting. An individual speaker is permitted 5 minutes for his or her presentation. If more than 2 persons wish to speak on a single item, it is recommended they choose 1 or more persons to speak for them. The Board of Trustees will accept copies of the speaker's presentations, questions, and other relevant written materials. And if you have any written materials you want to share with the Board of Trustees, you may send them to bot@ilstu.edu. When appropriate, the Board of Trustees will provide a response to a speaker's questions within a reasonable amount of time. Public comment number 1 is with Stephen Lazarev. Stephen here?
Hi, all. Ooh, louder. Hi, I'm Stephen Lazaroff. I'm a third-year PhD student and a member of the steering committee for the Illinois State University Graduate Workers Union. I have some comments regarding the recent resignation of President Terry Goss-Kinsey. I'm not going to ask the board members to break the legal agreement of silence they made, that they wanted to make, that was advantageous for them to make. It is very helpful for both parties, really, since it ensures that no member of the board or President Kinsey can speak about something that they both wish not to speak about. That is the reason why the first female president in ISU's history is leaving in the middle of the year, 2 days before Founders Day, arguably the most important day for an ISU president, right before Redbirds Give Back, the alumni donation campaign in which Kinsey would have been anticipated to play a central role. But I'm not here to ask the board for anything. I'm here to speak with anyone else who is listening, truly, and ask, doesn't the rest of campus, the rest of us on campus, all 20,000+ of us, deserve to know what 11-ish people know? why the most visible leader and single most powerful human of this university is no longer working here from one day to the next. That the board has this kind of power is representative of a university, a public university, that's lost touch with its values, with its leadership. The problem was not just President Kinsey, the problem was and still is the entire Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees is composed of 7 political appointees. They're not elected by anybody on campus. They serve a term of 6 years, and there is one token student that serves a single-year term. The board makes decisions that have pretty massive effects on our lives, like fire the president of the university. Here, the board has clearly fired President Kinsey, but don't want to say it, because then they'd have to say why they'd find her. I'll start over. Here, the board has clearly fired President Kinsey, but don't want to say it, because then they'd have to say why they are firing her. And it's pretty common sense that I reckon it's got to be because whatever is so great to fire President Kinsey surely lands on the Board of Trustees as well. What do we do here? The institution is serving the institution, not the people who live the life of Illinois State University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Well, it's now time for my remarks. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for the meeting of the Board of Trustees on this February 17th, 2023. Earlier this afternoon, the Campus Communication Committee hosted a very informative discussion hour, and I want to thank the committee, as well as Dr. Craig McLaughlin, for the opportunity to learn more about university research and creative scholarship. Each year, board members look forward to and participate in the founding celebration and appreciate having the opportunity to acknowledge the achievement of our students, employees, and alumni through a variety of activities and events. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to extend sincere congratulations to all faculty and staff award winners recognized this week. Before we move on with the business of today's meeting, I want to acknowledge a special group of students who are joining us today. Presidential Student Ambassadors are highly skilled and experienced students who represent the Office of the President at designated events and related university activities. The following students were nominated by faculty and staff, participated in a rigorous interview process, and ultimately were selected as Presidential Student Ambassadors. As board members, we look forward to getting to know you and working with you in the coming months. Would the following students please stand to be recognized? I apologize because I'm probably going to murder some of your names. Sadia Garapati. Sadia is a junior cybersecurity major from Bloomington, Illinois. Taylor Irvin. Taylor is a junior agriculture education major from Streeter, Illinois. Liam Rudin. Liam is a senior accounting major from Chatham, Illinois. Kareem Taston. Kareem is a junior political science and economics major from Macomb, Illinois. And unfortunately, Anil Gillen, who serves as lead presidential student ambassador and is a junior computer science major from White Rock, British Columbia, Canada, wasn't able to be here today. Please join me in recognizing these outstanding students. Thank you. I know where some of those towns are, Streeter, Macomb, I know where those places are. I would now like to call on today's spokesperson for the Campus Communications Committee, Dr. Martha Callison-Horst, Professor of Music Theory and Composition in the Wonsuk Kim College of Fine Arts School of Music and Chair of the Academic Senate for a report.
Clearly, I'm not Martha. I'm Stuart Palmer. I'm the current chair of the Campus Communications Committee. Originally, I was not going to be able to be here because it was a morning meeting and I was otherwise engaged, but since it got moved to the afternoon, I'm back.
So, wonderful.
All right. Well, the Campus Communication Committee would first like to thank Dr. Craig McLaughlin, who gave an overview at the coffee hour before this meeting on the state of scholarly and creative activities on our campus. We are always excited to see all the amazing scholarship being done by both our faculty and our students, and you can certainly see some of that around the room here. The Campus Communication Committee also wants to thank President Kinsey for her service to the university, and we look forward to working with the Board of Trustees as they begin their search process for a new permanent president. We encourage them to have a nationwide open search. The committee is also looking forward to working with Dr. Thomas Kaiser, founding Dean of the College of Engineering, to support the needs of our new college, created to reflect our commitment to student success, workforce development, and diversifying the field of engineering. We also would like to welcome the new Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Dr. Andy Morgan, as well as thank former interim Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Dr. Stacy Mulambwe, for her service. We would also like to congratulate Scott Jenkins and Dr. Leah Merminga on their appointment to the Board of Trustees. Welcome. And the committee also thanks Robert Dobsky and Dr. Mary Ann Louderback for their service on the board and wish them all the best in all their future endeavors. The committee is also excited that the task force for the university's new strategic plan has begun its work toward creating an updated plan to further support the core values of our institution. We look forward to the inclusion of and mutual collaboration among all of the shared governance bodies in the overall process. We also note that the university's Higher Learning Commission accreditation process has also begun. As one of the most important and intensive processes for this university, we appreciate the efforts and we thank all individuals involved in our university's HLC accreditation. The committee also notes that the Office of the Provost is reviewing the data from the Coach Faculty Success Survey and is creating task forces to analyze and better understand the issues raised from the survey's results. We further note that the Office of the President and the Cabinet have been discussing the Staff Success Survey data and that they have engaged with the Administrative Professionals Council as well as the Civil Service Council to evaluate issues raised from that data. We appreciate the attention being paid to those issues raised from our faculty and staff surveys, and we look forward to how these issues will be addressed. The committee also acknowledges the work to enhance vehicular and pedestrian safety on our campus. The Academic Senate currently is in the process of approving a campus dismount policy, and the Planning and Finance Committee is working on a policy brief related to this same very safety issue. The safety of our campus community is of the utmost importance, and we look forward to reviewing the outcome of these efforts. We are encouraged that the President has convened the LGBTQIA+ Policies and Initiatives Subcommittee as part of the Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Council to establish the framework for positive change on LGBTQIA+ issues within the university. We further note the conclusion of the investigation into the anti-LGBTQIA+ actions and the subsequent sanctions levied against Kappa Sigma fraternity. We recognize that more must be done for our LGBTQIA+ community on campus and look forward to how this subcommittee will address these important issues. We also recognize the successful EDI Leadership Symposium, which took place this past Tuesday on campus. We look forward to more events on campus, which will assist Illinois State University in continuing to work toward equity and inclusion. The committee is also excited that the new learning management system, Canvas, is being tested in several courses this spring semester. Look forward to the lessons learned from these pilot courses as to how we can best utilize this new system for the betterment of our students' education and their overall success. Finally, we are proud about the increase in the number of highly qualified finalists for the presidential and university scholarships on campus, as well as for the increase in the number of applications to the university overall, which are currently up 9.8% compared to this time last year. That's encouraging. The university, as always, has much to look forward to, and together, we will continue to provide the best experience and environment for our students, our faculty, and our staff. With that, I will close this letter, as so many have been closed before, by saying, "Go you Redbirds." Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. I would like to invite Brian Bernardoni, if I said that correctly, to the podium for a brief legislative update. Brian has a bachelor's and master's degree from Illinois State. As an undergraduate student, he was a student leader who was very involved in student government and sorority and fraternity life. He's a member of the Steve and Sandy Adams Legacy Hall of Fame, is a distinguished alumni of the Department of Politics and Government, and currently serves on the College of Arts and Science Chicago Advisory Board. Brian serves as Chief Strategic Officer for Strategic Consulting and will be working closely with Illinois State University for several months until the position formerly held by Jonathan Lackland is filled. Brian, thank you for being here today. At this time, please provide the board with a brief legislative update.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Bernardoni. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for Strategia Consulting. We are a government relations and communications strategy firm, a WBE based in Chicago. I'm here to provide a legislative update on activity impacting ISU, primarily focused on the Illinois General Assembly. An essential part of our role, based on conversations with the Cabinet, is to instill brand awareness of ISU with the new and largely inexperienced members of the Illinois General Assembly. The average tenure of members of both bodies is shrinking. A constant presence is required to be positioned for funding opportunities or a seat at the table on higher education matters. The provost and the administration will play a critical role in meeting with members of the legislature in their home districts. That process has begun in earnest. During the inaugural, President Kinsey had the opportunity to speak a number of times with the Senate President, the House Speaker, and a majority of the statewide constitutional officers. I will ensure those conversations stay top of mind with the leaders and others. Our primary goal is to build awareness of the vital role Illinois State University plays, providing students from across the state with a full selection of educational opportunities in a welcoming environment. For a number of years, going back to my undergraduate days back in 1986, ISU has worked in coordination with all of our university peers in legislative endeavors that remains a focus moving forward today. This stated, we'll seek several things specifically for Illinois State University. We intend to meet with the deans through the permission of the Cabinet to ascertain needs and wants so we can have an aggregated list of meaningful meetings with the state leadership, members of the Illinois General Assembly, as well as our members of Congress. Bill introduction has finished in the Senate, and the House will be completed today. The process will become robust moving into the next couple of weeks, as bills are either assigned to committees or left in assignments in the Senate or rules in the House. We expect about 11,000 bills by the close of business today on Friday. All bills are considered live until the end of session, so every idea, good or bad, must be monitored until the end by the Lobbying and Government Affairs team. We don't do this, as mentioned previously, alone. Rather, we work in concert with other public universities on issues impacting us all. Our role in that process is to identify through the Cabinet what the impact on ISU is and to add our vital input in legislative discussions. A list of bills has been provided to the Chief of Staff and I believe to the trustees, and it is frequently updated. We're monitoring specifically about 30 bills in the Senate and about 150 in the House as we speak right now. Lastly, we at Strategia look forward to this relationship. As an ISU alum, it's a privilege to serve the university that has given me so much. It's been a privilege to work with the Cabinet and the Provost. They provided us initially and throughout with input and sage counsel on existing and new proposals. We're thankful for their professionalism and collaboration. Stand ready for any questions you may have on any specific legislation, but we're still in assignments, so things are very open.
Are there any questions for Brian?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. There is one report this afternoon, 2023.02/4000.01, FY22 Grant and Contract Activity Report. In addition to the support provided internally, external sources of funding make substantial contributions to the advancement of faculty scholarly activities, student experimental learning, and university outreach. The work made possible by such funding supports the core values of Illinois State University, most directly the values of learning and scholarship, civic engagement, and collaboration. Furthermore, the research, creative activities, and educational outreach made possible by such external support are integral parts of the university's strategic directions, objectives, and actions outlined in Educate, Connect, and Elevate. External support is one factor in a number of rankings for the university, including our Carnegie classification as a high research activity doctoral institution, R2. Support comes through a variety of channels such as grants, contracts, agency dollars, and foundation support, and for a number of functions such as research, instructions, and public service. This report captures grants and contracts directed through Illinois State University's restricted accounts. Does the board have any questions or comments about this report? Well, seeing no questions, I will now entertain a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees pursuant to 5 ILCS Section 120/2C1 and litigation which has been filed and is pending before court or administrative tribunal or is a probable or imminent as followed in 5 ILCS Section 120/2C11. May I have a motion and a second to approve the motion to move into closed section.
I so move.
Second.
So moved by trustee Navarro and second by Jones. All those in favor of the resolution say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion is approved. We'll now move into closed session. At the close of the closed session, the board will reconvene in this room for public session.
Great job.
Good job. Yep.
Then Greg, it's going on.
Went to high school, U high, so I have
Okay,
a
so
system.
So I'm responsible for closing the street between Alamo and Harvard.
Hey, lady, how are you so wrong? I saw you over there. I said, okay, I like your sassy hair. Come on. Blanche, have more fun, girl. How's everything going? See, I might have a hot mic, so you know. I'm just letting you know. I've seen better days, and I've seen worse days. So you know, we're gonna keep on keeping on. That's right. Huh? Thank you. You got bigger fish to fry right now. Yeah. It's a little busy around here. Are you staying for the second time? We should be back. Hopefully quick, you know. We will see. Okay. Well, I'm sure whatever happens, you will hear about it. Hello there. It's good to see you. How's retirement treating you? You know, you out there fishing and riding horses and doing all that. Yeah, I was gonna say you might be looking for something else to do already. See, I know that all these people were supposed to be retired a little bit. They're busier than those of us who are supposed to be working whatever. Well, we're glad you didn't just kick us to the side, you know, when you glad to still see you. Yeah, I'm glad to see you still here, coming to visit us and everything. That's right. I mean, but that doesn't mean you're gonna come hang out with us.
do, yes. You were the former president of the NAACP, right?
Well, I want to thank all of you for remaining and being present as we reconvene the public session of the February 17th, 2023 meeting of the Board of Trustees. All trustees who were present at roll call at the beginning of the board meeting are currently present. While in closed session, the board discussed two matters relevant to the next resolutions. The first is in regard to the resignation of Illinois State University's 20th president, Dr. Terry Goss-Kinsey, on Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. I ask the board to consider Resolution 2023.02/01, resignation of Dr. Terry Goss-Kinsey and approval of the separation agreement and release between Dr. Terry Goss-Kinsey and the Board of Trustees. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Illinois State University and Dr. Terry Goss-Kinsey executed an employment agreement with an effective date of July 1st, 2021, pursuant to which Dr. Kinsey agreed to serve as president of the university through June 30th, 2025. And whereas Dr. Kinsey has advised the board of her resignation as president of the university effective February 14th, 2023, therefore be it resolved that the board accepts Dr. Kinsey's resignation subject to the terms and conditions set forth in a separation agreement and release negotiated by the board and Dr. Kinsey. Be it further resolved that the board approves the separation agreement and release negotiated by the board and Dr. Kinsey. Be it further resolved that the board is authorized to execute, deliver, and perform in the name of and on behalf of the university such instruments as may be necessary in furtherance of this resolution. Before I ask for a vote, I will note that the separation agreement and release are included as part of the board meeting materials on the Board of Trustees website. However, for the public record, I will state that the agreement includes a one-time lump sum payment of $144,225, equal to 20 weeks of her annual salary. The agreement also allows Dr. Kinsey to reside in the university residence for a period not to exceed 120 days after the effective separation date of February 14th, 2023. I ask for your approval for this resolution. May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Trustee Abakumi made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second Navarro.
Bob Navarro, second. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, Trustee Navarro, will you call for a roll call vote?
Trustee Bone,
Yes.
Trustee Ebekumi,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Jones,
Yes.
Trustee Moringa, Trustee Navarro, yes. The resolution is approved.
The second item for board consideration during executive session was in regard to the future leadership of Illinois State University. The board strongly believes that there is outstanding leadership on this campus and has identified current provost and vice president for academic affairs, Andave Tarhuli, to serve as interim president with an appointment through June 30th, 2024, at the same base salary as the past president. The board has full confidence that he will provide outstanding leadership and stability, as well as continue the good work of the university in collaboration with students, faculty, staff, alumni, friends, and the larger university community to advance the mission, vision, and values of Illinois State University. Resolution 2023.02/02, appointment of interim president of Illinois State University. Whereas Dr. Terry Goss-Kinsey has tendered her resignation as president of Illinois State University, whereas the Board of Trustees of Illinois State University has accepted the resignation of Dr. Kinsey as president of the university, whereas the Board of Trustees desires to provide for an orderly transition of leadership and is committed to ensuring sound leadership for Illinois State University's future, whereas Dr. Andave Tarhuli has provided exemplary service as the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at Illinois State University since 2020 and has more than 26 years of higher education, faculty, staff, and administrative experience. Whereas Dr. Andave Tarhuli is willing and qualified to assume the responsibilities of university president during this transition. Therefore, be it resolved that Dr. Andave Tarhuli is hereby appointed interim president of Illinois State University effective February 17th, 2023 until June 30th, 2024. Be it further resolved that the interim president is hereby granted authority to exercise all duties and responsibilities of the president of Illinois State University under the board's bylaws, university policies, resolutions of the board, and as otherwise provided for. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees is hereby authorized to execute such documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate in connection with the implementation of this action. I ask for your approval for this resolution. May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Jones and second by Trustee Ebekumi. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, Trustee Navarro, will you call for a roll call vote?
Trustee Bone.
Yes.
Trustee Ebekumi.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Moringa. Trustee Navarro, yes. The motion is approved.
I want to extend our thanks and congratulations to Dr. Tarhuli. And if Dr. Tarhuli and Rose, you could please join me. Before we move into the resolutions, would you like to say a few words?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been honored to serve for nearly 3 years at this great institution. I am humbled that the Board of Trustees has asked me to serve as interim president. I accept this great honor with humility. I have the utmost respect for our trustees' judgment and their commitment to Illinois State University. I am also humbled by their confidence in me to lead Illinois State University at this time. I will do my very best to earn that trust. In the time that I'm in this role, I will work tirelessly to build trust, strengthen shared understanding of the university's issues and priorities, and work closely with the board and the university leadership. I look forward to working with my vice president colleagues, the administrative leadership team, our faculty, staff, and students to make Illinois State University the grandest of enterprises. Illinois State is on a solid foundation. Our enrollments are steady. Our teachers and researchers are excellent. Our staff is highly committed, and our relationship with shared governance partners continues to strengthen daily. All our divisions, including student affairs, advancement, athletics, finance and planning, and academic affairs, have one mission and one mission only, and that is to ensure that our students are successful, and we work tirelessly and seamlessly in pursuit of this goal. I am committed to serving Illinois State University in the best way possible during this transition. At a time when many public universities in the Midwest have struggled, Illinois State has remained a strong and vital institution, thanks to the dedication and hard work of many who have come before. The mission of our time is to leverage that foundation and build on it so that we all, as Redbirds, can soar higher than ever in its history. I do not doubt that we are up to this challenge. Indeed, there can be no better time to be a Redbird, and I gladly welcome the opportunity to lead this great institution. I'd like to conclude by again thanking the Board of Trustees for this exciting opportunity, my colleagues in academic affairs for their exceptional collegiality, which has made coming to work each day a delight, and all the faculty, staff, students, and shared governance partners with whom I've had the great pleasure of working. Finally, I am deeply indebted, without compare, to my wife, Rose. Ours has been a 31-year partnership with love, respect, and mutual support that has brought us to this moment. I know Rose shares my enthusiasm as we undertake this next phase of our journey together, and my excitement for the future of Illinois State. Thank you all very much, and go you all Redbirds. With the board's permission, I will move forward with the agenda.
Yes, please, move forward with the remaining resolutions.
Resolution 2023.02/03, authorization to contract for Milner Library e-journal and database subscriptions. EBSCO Industries is the primary periodicals and electronic databases vendor for Milner Library. EBSCO provides volume discounts to the desired database and subscription services. Milner Library utilizes an exemption per Section 1-13B, exemptions PA 97-643 of the Procurement Code. Illinois State University Board of Trustees previously authorized Milner Library to spend up to $2.4 million for e-journal and database subscriptions annually in prior fiscal years. Milner Library has recently subscribed to a greater number of journals and databases to better the needs of faculty, research agendas, and new and changing curriculum to replace microformats with digital newspapers and e-journals. To take advantage of discounted pricing offered for multi-year renewal agreements, we are requesting the University Board of Trustees to consider a multi-year expenditure authorization with EBSCO Industries upon the advice of university purchasing. The administration of Milner Library seeks Board of Trustees support for the e-journal and database subscriptions renewal spending with EBSCO Industries up to $10.5 million for fiscal year 2024, fiscal year 2025, and fiscal year 2026, with expenditures not to exceed $3.5 million each year funded through general revenue resources. This will assure availability of the content necessary to support quality programs and research at Illinois State University. I ask for your approval of this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Abakumi,
Second?
second by trustee Jones. Is there any discussion? I have a question.
Yes.
So if we approve this, it's a 3-year, and so we're locked into this. You won't be coming back for more money for the next 3 years for this.
We hope so.
I guess that's the best we can do. Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you. Resolution 2023.02/04, authorization to adopt an amended and restated AFS bond resolution. The Illinois State University Auxiliary Facilities System Bond Resolution was originally adopted in 1985. Certain covenants contained in the original bond resolution are outdated and inflexible and do not reflect current auxiliary financing and market practices. Notably, certain projects that the Board of Trustees of ISU may want to undertake may be impossible or more expensive without adopting amendments to the original bond resolution. Other state universities in Illinois have amended their bond resolutions to address similar obstacles. The proposed amendments to the original bond resolution would bring ISU in line with certain other state universities. The proposed amendments to the original bond resolution, as set forth in the amendment and restated AFS resolution, include: 1, an update of provisions relating to the leasing and sale or other disposal of system facilities, making it easier to do the same upon the satisfaction of certain criteria. 2, an update to provisions related to adding and funding new system facilities, either through renovation or new constructions to the system, making it easier to do the same. 3, addition of a provision providing for the disposition of excess funds of the system, if any, to permit funds to be taken out of AFS and used for general university purposes upon meeting certain requirements and approval of the board. And 4, an update to the list of facilities that currently comprise the system. The original bond resolution requires that such amendments set forth in the amendment and restated AFS resolution be consented to by AFS bondholders who own at least 65% of the current principal amount of ISU AFS bonds outstanding, and the bond insurer, which holds the consent rights with respect to certain series of outstanding AFS bonds. Upon approval of this resolution, ISU plans to seek formal written consent from the AFS bondholders and the bond insurer to proceed with such amendments set forth in the amended and restated AFS resolution. University leadership continues to work to pursue the necessary consents from the AFS bondholders and bond insurer. Until written consent is received by at least 65% of the AFS bondholders and the bond insurer, the terms and conditions included in the original resolution remain in place. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Abakumi,
Second?
second by trustee Jones. All in favor, say aye.
I have a
Aye.
question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Board counsel.
Discussion, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Very sorry.
Madam Chair, we couldn't have a meeting without having questions for Dan Stevens. So Vice President Stevens. some things have to be consistent. So I have a question for you. Thank you so much for taking your time out to kind of go over this with me earlier. I said you have to do math for lawyers when you're talking to me, so thank you. I just want some clarity here. It says that we have to get approval from the bondholders. So I wanted, and you said some other universities have gone through this process. So my question is twofold. Have those universities experienced any problems getting that approval? And do we expect that we may have some problem getting the approval from those bondholders?
Thank you for your question. And first of all, also congratulations, Provost Tahuli. It would be an honor to work for you, sir. The two institutions that we modeled our resolution changes from were Northern Illinois and SIU. It's interesting that in the state of Illinois, going back into the mid-'80s, there was one law firm that we currently still use today called Chapman and Cutler. And actually, one particular attorney, and somebody's going to remind me what was her name. She's retired now, but she essentially wrote the resolutions that essentially all the universities adopted. And so you're going back into the mid-'80s, changes and realities around the state institutions not providing as much capital as you might think, and the institutions needing to advance in housing and dining things, that some of those resolutions were older. Well, NIU took on the responsibility of change it. They had it approved. SIU had theirs approved. We have already received, we've been working with all of our banks. We have Huntington Bank, Regions Bank, JP Morgan, PNC, and then a bond insurer, and this is an important point here. A bond insurer we place in front of our debt in order to allow us to get a better interest rate. And by getting a better interest rate, they actually have the voting responsibilities of all the bondholders. So today we have letters written from Regions Bank that approves it. We have letters from JP Morgan that we just recently received. All the other banks are reviewing it now. All the conversations by our bond counsel and our financial advisors are all indicating that everything's moving ahead. It's just got to get through credit committees. But we feel very strong that we will receive this approval because it very much makes sense, practical sense for the universities. And we actually also believe a lot of the other institutions in the state that have an opportunity that can get this element of vote done will actually follow suit with us.
Thank you,
that's
Vice
a-
President Stevens. Appreciate it.
It's a long answer to a short question.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Resolution 2023.02/05, Rachel Cooper Mechanical Systems Upgrade Project. Rachel Cooper and Fairchild Hall are integrate connected, were built together and opened as Illinois State University academic buildings in 1952. Rachel Cooper and Fairchild Hall heating is delivered by a steam system utilizing carbon steel piping, and domestic water and sanitary waste utilize galvanized steel pipe. The systems are original to these buildings and are starting to fail at an increasing rate and have exceeded their intended life. Multiple utility systems are insulated with hazardous material and as a result are costly to repair and maintain. The university is seeking authorization for a capital project to design and construct an upgraded mechanical system project to replace the heating and domestic water piping systems and abate and replace hazardous material insulation at a project not to exceed $2.5 million for this project. The total scope of the project work involves two separate areas: Fairchild Hall, basement mechanical room number 0002, and the second floor of the Rachel Cooper building. If approved, this renovation project is planned to begin in May 2023 and be completed by the end of August 2023. The total cost estimate is not to exceed $2.5 million and is supported by general revenue funds. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Trustee Abakumi made the motion. Is there a second?
Navarro, second.
Trustee Navarro, second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you so much. Resolution 2023.02/06, Williams Hall Rehabilitation and CIPD renovations pre-construction services. Williams Hall was originally built as Illinois State University's library in 1939 and completed library building additions in 1957, 1963, and School of Business additions in 1978 and 1979. The building is currently used for classrooms and temporary and transitional space for the university. In 2019, the university hired Canon Design to complete an analysis and recommendations for future uses for Williams Hall that identified building code, historical preservation, deferred maintenance, fragmentation, egress, access, wayfinding, and space use issues. Subsequently, the university hired Sightlines in 2020 to complete a facility condition analysis and make recommendations to maintain the viability and functional use capabilities for ISU, which resulted in an analysis recommending significant investments in deferred maintenance and infrastructure upgrades and repairs required for Williams Hall. The university has identified certain areas within Williams Hall to help house and serve the faculty professional programming, development, and training efforts that are managed through the university's Center for Integrated Professional Development, or CIPD. CIPD, formerly the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Technology, CTLT, was the sole occupant of ISU's Instructional Technology and Development Center, a center facility located at 301 South Main Street, Normal. In 2019, ISU developed a plan to repurpose this building for a new multicultural center. However, this required CIPD to be relocated to alternate ISU space on campus. To facilitate the MCC project, ISU administration approved Williams Hall as the temporary location for CIPD, and they were moved into vacant pockets throughout Williams Hall in 2019. In 2019, the future CIPD plan was that CIPD would become the Faculty Success Center and be located on the first and fifth floor of Milner Library. However, that original plan was changed to recommend that CIPD remain in Williams Hall, which among other positive attributes provides opportunities for future growth and a central location on the quad. The planned future CIPD space cannot be used in its current condition due to significant building issues involving egress, access, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning and roofing. The first phase of this project is to complete significant deferred maintenance, infrastructure upgrades, and repairs required to make the space usable for ISU. The second phase will be to undertake a major renovation to consolidate all CIPD functions on the third floor. This resolution requests funds to address the project pre-construction services, which include architectural and engineering-related efforts to program, plan, design, and produce the required documents to publicly build the new Williams Hall Rehabilitation and CIPD renovations projects. These costs are estimated to not exceed $1.75 million and are funded through general revenue funds. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Jones made the motion and Trustee Abakumi second. Is there any discussion? I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I know there's been a lot of deferred maintenance and infrastructure repairs that we've put off. So in your estimate, how much of all this that we would be approving eventually would be for that?
CIPD. Dan has that.
Thank you for your question. I apologize for coming up here before being asked, but it's kind of a common event. Thank you for asking this, because the Williams situation is actually unique. Most of the time when we are working on some type of building like this, we haven't had a history of not having been able to maintain it to a certain level. And so we had worked in Williams for a number of years for the spaces that were being occupied. It became a swing space building for a variety of purposes. Once in 2000, once it no longer was the College of Businesses building in 2005. So all the renovations that were requested over the last 10 or 15 years were for unique spaces. Well, now that the building itself is, we're investing significantly more in keeping it. The largest portion of this resolution is about the roof repairs, the HVAC, the asbestos removal, similar to what we were talking about Rachel Cooper. That's about 60 to 70% of the total project whenever it's done. The CIPD space just happens to be space that will be consolidated, invested in, but if we could have separated this into two resolutions. We just combined it together because we need to do the A&E to not only deal with the deferred maintenance, but also do the design exactly at one time. And then we'll come back to you whenever those are done and tell you these are the items within these projects that we're going to now request your approval going forward.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question as well, Madam Chair. So do we have an ETA on that side, and how long is this building, is the building gonna have to go offline? Because when I hear about asbestos removal and those kind of things, so is the building gonna be online the whole time and the repairs can be made while it's still, the building's still up and running?
The answer to that is correct. The areas by which that we haven't invested in those spaces, there are some stacks in there that have been around for 50 years. One of the items is they've just removed them. And so the new spaces that we have to work with, obviously the roof will be able to be repaired. The asbestos areas, there's no one in those areas. As we recapture that space, that is when we'll be investing in those. So we'll be able to operate it, continue to operate while the work is going on.
So instead of taking space offline, it sounds like when that work is done, we'll be able to put some space online that's not currently being used.
That is correct.
correct?
And the
Thank you.
removal, we're studying the removal of the stacks and then the eventual purpose of what that stack space, it would be essentially 3 stories high of open space. And so we'd eventually come back with a resolution as to potentially put in floors and what the purpose will be. But that recapture, it will be close to probably 15,000 square feet. So that's another reason why we wanted to make this investment in this facility. It's not just simply for a small piece. There's a major investment because it is on the quad. It is an historic building and is definitely one we want to keep for perpetuity.
Thank you, Vice President Stevens.
So my question is about CIPD is what has seemed to have moved around a lot. So
Correct.
they're going to stay in Williams, just in a different part of the building during this renovation, or are you moving them to a different building?
No, actually, thank you again for that question. If you remember a few years ago when we asked them to move and we repurposed the building they were in for the Multicultural Center, we had moved the staff into offices in Williams and spaces. They're disparate throughout a variety of floors. They were using space in the library and a lot of other places. Well, the studies over the last few years determined the best place for them is going to be that building. So we're actually reinvesting. They were about 16,000 square feet in the Multicultural Center building. When we finish with the work for CIPD, all of their space collectively together with offices and training spaces is going to be somewhere around 14 or 15,000 square feet, and it should be in that building, predominantly on that 3rd floor.
But while the work is being done, are they still?
They
gonna
will be,
like-
yeah, they will
they're
be
still-
there. That's correct. The
Thank you.
majority of the work is around creating some of that training space that was so prominent over at the Multicultural Center. It's a lot of larger open space. We just didn't have that open, available space, but we had offices for them to move into.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you so much. Resolution 2023.02/07, Safeco Arena Athletics Building Office Renovation Project. Redbird Arena opened in 1989 and currently houses the university's athletic administration and business offices, men's and women's basketball offices, volleyball offices, and locker room and fitness room facilities for these sports. Redbird Arena was officially renamed Safeco Arena effective November 1, 2022, as voted on and approved by the Illinois State University Board of Trustees on October 14, 2022, via resolution number 2022.10/42. Safeco Arena is used for intercollegiate basketball and volleyball matches, numerous high school, regional, and state athletic events, and many other events. In addition, it is used for academic functions, including Illinois State University commencement ceremonies held each year in December and May. The athletics department currently employs approximately 130 coaches, staff, and administrators that support approximately 450 student athletes in over 17 men's and women's sports teams, and the university leadership is committed to ensuring parity among the men's and women's programs. Safeco Arena was built with 4 comparable athletics office suites assigned to administration, business office, women's basketball/volleyball, and men's basketball suite. Currently, disparity exists between space assignments allocated for the men's and women's programs. Parity can be achieved by relocating the women's volleyball program into the current athletics business office suite on the main floor of the arena. However, this decision requires the relocation of the current athletics business office into suitable space. The university is seeking approval for the construction renovation of Safeco Arena Room 150, a multi-purpose room currently utilized for various athletic programmatic functions, into appropriate administrative space that accommodates the athletics business office staff needs. With board approval, renovation will begin in March 2023 and be completed by August 2023. The cost is to not exceed $550,000 and is supported by Athletics AFS funds. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
It's made by trustee Jones, second by trustee Ebekumi. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Does this ensure, are we looking at other sports as well outside of Safeco Arena for parity?
Kai?
That's a great question. We're looking at it constantly. So this was the first one that really popped out to us as something that was very visible in the disparity between men and women. But if you look at Horton Fieldhouse, it is not the best building in the world. And so we're looking at having a process of fixing locker rooms as we go. They're not always based on who needs it most right away, but more they're dominoes that need to fall. If this office gets done, then the next office gets done, and so on. So we'll continue to evaluate and make sure that we clean up any disparity.
I just had an observation that, it only took 50 years after Title IX to get this disparity fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just like to add that I commend you all and applaud athletics here at Illinois State for making these steps and making sure that, we line up with what we say our goals and our objectives are and what our philosophy is here at Illinois State. as a woman who is not athletic but loves athletics, I think that it's very, very important that not only we speak that and we say that women's athletics is just as important as men's athletics, but we take actions such as this to show that that is something that we really are putting our force behind here at ISU. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you. Resolution 2023.02/08, pre-construction services for STEM building and greenhouse project. Illinois State University Family Science Annex, FSA, opened for classes in 1963 and is a 4-story STEM facility that houses spaces for geology, geography, health sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, and general classrooms. It has been modified numerous times during the past 60 years, but not in a planned or comprehensive manner. As a result, changing university pedagogical requirements, aging, failed, and obsolete infrastructure, and changing codes have resulted in the building not functioning as designed or required. Additionally, the FSA greenhouse opened in 1964 and currently deemed an unsafe teaching environment and cannot be used for instructional classes for the foreseeable future. The greenhouse is currently being used by the Biological Sciences Department to house and grow various plants that were previously used for multiple teaching pedagogies. The Family Science Annex and FSA greenhouse are currently performing well below ISU requirements. Subsequently, several ISU biology and chemistry labs in FSA are not fully functional, resulting in reduced ISU College of Arts and Sciences laboratory and teaching capacity. The current demand for STEM teaching lab capacity in the Family Annex and Science Laboratory building resulting from existing ISU programs, as well as the increased enrollments planned by the Mennonite College of Nursing and the new College of Engineering over the next few years, necessitates the need to evaluate the adequate availability and quality of our STEM research and teaching labs on campus. Canon Design and ISU worked collaboratively to develop a preliminary concept plan and a budget to implement all the necessary project components to implement this new STEM building and greenhouse project. Preliminary cost estimates range between $40 million to $50 million, depending on final design. The project phase 1 scope is to build a 5,000 gross square feet greenhouse facility at the grounds complex next to the Carter Harris building. The project phase 2 scope involves constructing a new 4-story building with a greenhouse and head house at the top of the building. The site will be the current existing greenhouse and abandoned equipment site. The building is designed to have up to 9 science labs that can be either research or teaching labs. Some laboratories will be built out with the greenhouse and head house as part of the original building construction. The remainder of these labs would be shelled out, similar to how shell space was built out in ISU's Julian Hall building for the cybersecurity project. This resolution requests Board of Trustees to authorize expenditures not to exceed $4 million for all necessary STEM building and greenhouse project pre-construction services for a project to program, plan, design, and produce the required documents to publicly bid the new STEM building and greenhouse project and direct the university administration to establish a budget and appoint architects and engineers and other necessary project consultants. This project is supported by general revenue resources and funds generated by the academic enhancement fee. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Trustee Ebekumi made the motion.
Second.
Trustee Jenkins, second. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Madam Chair. It seems like we keep hearing about this greenhouse. It seems like we keep getting resolutions in front of the board about the greenhouse, and we keep voting on these. So is it my understanding that we're asking for $4 million now to kind of do some more evaluation, but it looks like this could possibly be a $40 to $50 million project? So at some point, we may get another resolution to ask for 35 or $45 million?
Yes, ma'am. Let me
That's a
bring
lot of
you.
flowers.
Yeah, let me bring you, let me bring you back to a little bit of history. Right in the summer of 2020, we had a resolution brought to this board for just simply a greenhouse on that same site, removing the existing one. It is in very, very poor shape, and certainly underutilized. Correctly done by the board because of COVID, as well as other actions that we stopped at. We're actually kind of thankful that you did, because as we, over the last few years, began to study our science and STEM buildings and the growth in those enrollments, we discovered the need for not just simply our new greenhouse, but the need to have some very specific type of biology and chemistry labs that require fume hoods. Well, that site sits right next to Felmy, which is our original science building. We're actually attempting to use some renovation dollars. That's a very old building. As we continue to study this, we discovered that we're going to have to, ultimately take some of those science lab buildings, or science labs, offline, potentially offline, because they're so old and won't work today. It would be too costly to renovate those and potentially put something new. Once all that dialogue started occurring, the experts in my division started brainstorming this. And so what we've come back to is the same greenhouse, but to be placed literally on top of it so that it can face the sun, but also it is right in prime real estate on the quad. If we had actually put the greenhouse there first, and done that a few years ago, we would be bringing back our same STEM lab issues, wondering where we're going to put it. And so it actually is the brainchild of some experts in our field to say it really does belong there. So it was the timing of that, and this is really an investment not only in the diverse maintenance issues and replacing this. It's very expensive for brand-new labs. We're actually working with the state on some deferred maintenance, and so it's actually cheaper to build new than to renovate old. And our goal is to actually take some of these older fume hood labs that no longer can renovate and turn them potentially into physics labs or non-STEM centric facilities. So this is a topic that's evolved over time, but we feel very strong about where we're headed with this, and believe that this A&E project, very similar to the one we talked about at Williams, is going to allow us to bring back to you very specific investments that we will then evaluate. How many floors we may end up shelling, we may be building the structure, but only completing one floor or two and shelling out and determining later what we do. But we've got that single spot to go straight up, connected right next to Felmy, and really make a major investment in our science facilities for the next 100 years.
I guess thank you for. I'm still wrapping my mind
You knew
around
it was not going to be a
I'm wrapping my mind
2-second
around
answer.
35 million and 45 million.
Yes.
But thank you.
It is. And one last point, though, and this is a thanks to the board a few years ago to recognize the fact that the state of Illinois struggles with capital. Operating appropriations, it continues to invest in. It really struggles with capital. This is a capital investment. Felmy eventually will have to be torn down. If the state ultimately had an ability to contribute that, we wouldn't be bringing this. It would have already been renovated, similar to Williams. Well, our academic enhancement fee was put in place exactly for that. And this would be funded over using those fees in the capital portion of that over likely a 10-year period of time. And we've been planning for this, and this represents exactly what those investment dollars are for. And it's the advancement of science and support of all our disciplines.
If I may, I can provide two other perspectives to why this building is needed. We have about 5, maybe 6 gen ed classes that enroll more than 1,000 students. Now, all those students have to go through labs. Our labs were designed at a time past where many of them, some of them house 18 students, some 25, many 20. Now, take 1,000 students and try to run them through rooms that can house only 18 or 20. You end up with 50, in some cases, more than 50 different sections. Now, try to divide those 50 sections by the number of hours in the week, and you see the challenge we have. So we just don't have enough space to run all those labs. In fact, quite frankly, the reason we're able to do it now is some students don't go to labs. And that's not what we hope for. If everyone did, we wouldn't be able to accommodate them. So what we're doing here, and a lot of other universities have found that it's much better to design labs that can hold more than 30, 25, 30, or 40 students. So let's say if you have a lab that holds 40 students, take your same 1,000 students, now it's 25 sections. If that's much easier to accommodate, you can put in an additional instructor at much less cost and still give the students the same individualized experience. So many other schools have gone this way, and this would be really helpful for us if we're able to create that flexibility. The second reason has to do with pedagogy and the way that old labs were designed. Back then, as everyone remembers, everything was bolted down. You know, the lab tables were concrete, everything is bolted down. This is not the way labs are designed anymore. These days, everything comes from the ceiling. Nothing is bolted down, so the tables are all movable and flexible. This allows the instructors to have classes where students can interact, plus the spaces are no longer just lab-specific. If we don't need them for labs, pull up all of the supply lines, and you can use them as lecture rooms. So this creates additional flexibility. None of this is possible with the current lab systems we have. So going forward, I think this is really a change we have to make, and the timing is just greatly quite auspicious for all of the other things we're doing within the university. So yes, what we're asking to do now is money to figure out exactly how much such a building would cost, and once we've determined that, we'll be coming back with a second resolution that has more firm numbers and estimates of the building cost plus the design ideas.
Thank you for that. Well, if we get a new building, everybody is mandatory they show up to lab.
I sure hope so.
You gotta get our money's worth if we get that
Right.
building.
I just have an aside. I spent a lot of time in the old greenhouse that is no longer used. And when I spent time in it, it wasn't in really good shape. That was a long time ago. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you so much. Resolution 2023.02/09, authorization to replace certain ISU Lexington Farm facilities due to fire damage. Shortly after midnight on Friday, November 18, 2022, a fire of unknown origin started in the stored hay in the southern end of the beef barn at the Illinois State University farm at Lexington, destroying approximately 66%, or about 31,000 square feet, of the existing beef barn, including the calf birthing room. The College of Applied Science and Technology, CAST, and the ISU farm manager successfully arranged temporary relocation of 116 livestock safely through CAST's connections with the Illinois Farm Bureau to neighboring farms. Illinois State maintains appropriate insurance on all farm operations, equipment, and structural buildings located at the university farm, and has filed an insurance claim for all applicable property damage, extra expenses, and business income losses suffered in the fire. However, insurance claims and reimbursement processes will delay restoring of certain structural facilities, equipment, and animal feed functionality at the Lexington farm. Accordingly, replacement facility structures need to be leased and/or constructed on the ISU Lexington Farm property to completely restore all farming, animal care, teaching, and research capabilities. This resolution authorizes a project to restore the full functionality of the Illinois State University Farm at Lexington to its existing operations prior to the beef barn fire, including securing temporary farm-related structural facilities, equipment, animal field, and other operational needs as soon as possible. The university has filed the appropriate insurance documents to secure the highest available insurance financial settlement allowed by our insurance carriers at a total project cost not to exceed $3 million. Once construction is complete and a financial settlement is reached between the university and the insurance carriers, a follow-up resolution may be necessary to approve spending for additional measures to return the farm to full working order. The university expects to be fully reimbursed for all insurable loss project costs, including temporary and permanent investments, less a per-incident deductible of $100,000. On February 2nd, 2023, the insurance carrier provided the university a detailed report outlining an initial estimate for debris removal and property reconstruction of $2,401,996. This does not include losses incurred for non-property related costs such as lost business income, animal feed, labor, and other allowable expenses resulting from the fire. The insurance carrier has agreed to provide $1,776,000 in upfront cash payments as part of the final settlement to reimburse the university for costs incurred to date, as well as provide funds to begin the restoration project. Final cash settlement with the insurance carrier will not be reached until full reconstruction efforts are completed and final invoices are reviewed and approved. As of February 17, 2023, due to the emergency nature of the project, the university has already expended approximately $575,000 in university funds to help expedite the farm restoration effort. The university fully expects to be reimbursed for these funds from the final insurance loss settlement provided by our insurance carriers. The university is seeking approval to expedite all necessary efforts to acquire and/or lease the proper equipment, animal supplies, and other operational needs, along with accelerated construction and/or lease of the appropriate facility structures needed to return the Illinois State University Farm at Lexington to full operations as soon as possible at a total project cost not to exceed $3 million. Once construction is complete and a financial settlement is reached between the university and the insurance carriers, a follow-up resolution may be necessary to approve spending for additional measures to return the farm to full working order. The university expects to be fully reimbursed for all insurable loss projects, including temporary and permanent investments, less a per-incident deductible of $100, which will be supported by general revenue funds. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
So the motion was by trustee Navarro and second by trustee Evakumi. Is there any discussion?
I do have something, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I know the hour is well spent. I think it must be this seat, because you always ask about money when you're sitting here. Now I have all the money questions. I just picked up on a part of the resolution, and thank you, Interim President. We said that it's $3 million, but we may get another resolution to come back after the $3 million. It seems like why don't we have a better estimate right now? Why is it gonna be necessary for us to come back? Possibly. And then the second one is, when we get the money back, how does all that work if we get fully reimbursed?
This is a very complex situation, and so I'm going to do my best to try to explain it, what I've learned being Farmer Dan and Insurance Dan. The resolution in front of you today is a resolution because we have to have board authority for expenditures greater than 500,000, hence the emergency with the other in the birthing room, calving birthing room. We can't proceed without your authority. We are still working with the insurance company. Their original estimate is no different than if you've ever had a claim at your home for, which I've had before, where there could be, I had water in my living room, my house in Atlanta, and it damaged the hardwood floor and it damaged the basement. They give you an initial estimate. They even give you an initial check. It is not the final settlement until you end up getting a contractor that comes in and says, yes, it looked like your hardwood floor could be saved, but the reality was by the time we went in there and tried to save it, it couldn't be saved. And so that final reconciliation that you're talking about there is something that we are now in the process of doing because we only got the report back from them a few days ago. And so in talking with Dean McCloda and talking with our construction team, our representation to you today is that we are only moving forward with expenditures that don't spend any more money than the $100,000 deductible. If we end up likely in the May meeting, we may have greater awareness then. In the May meeting, if we come back with something that just doesn't get reimbursed 100% by them, another item, and I'll just exaggerate and say it's only $5, I have to come back and ask for your authority. So it would be then our expenditure was $100,005. We just need for your approval to allow us to work only with the amount of funds that are permissible. And the reason it is higher than 2.4 million to 3 is they didn't, when they were doing their first estimate, they knew they weren't covering everything. And so now we're in the process of working on it. And so it will be a resolution either in May or possibly in July where we'll have the greater clarity. And it's not going to be me. My hope is it's zero, but it may be 50 grand, 100 grand. It's just hard to tell. But we didn't want to hold up the resolution until we discovered what that was.
Thank you.
And I have to pass this along. We have a new potential student. This is a picture from the calving barn we have now. As of yesterday, K1 was born, 51 pounds, in the new calving barn, and I've already got an application out with Jana for a scholarship for an agricultural program. So the calving barn that had to be done by January 31st in order for mom to have that calf inside and our students to help with that, it literally was a picture 2 days ago. So I hope to end this meeting with a cheer for K1.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Okay,
Thank you. Resolution 2023-02/10, renewal of student health insurance plan for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Each year, Aetna Student Health, ASH, develops a renewal percentage that represents the increase in the plan for the next year. The percentage is calculated using a mathematical formula that estimates medical trends, pooling charges, adjustments in the pooling charge for high-dollar claims, impact of plan changes, and any rate increases experienced by the plan. The formula incorporates a blend of the plan's most recent 2 years of claims and premium data, which has been used for more than 20 years on Illinois State University renewals. Representatives from the Student Insurance Office and Student Health Services, with the assistance of an insurance plan consultant, with Skloman and Associates LLC, negotiate annually with ASH to obtain the best plan at the lowest rate for ISU students. The final published rate at to ISU students results from the ASH rate along with funds used from the Premium Stabilization Reserve, or PSR. Based on claims experience, ASH initially proposed an 8.8% premium increase for the 2023 to 24 plan year. However, after negotiations, an increase of 6.5% premium is recommended. It is also recommended student premiums be subsidized by $12 per student per semester or $10 per student in the summer for the 2023 to 2024 plan year. Therefore, for the 2023 to 24 plan year, a 0% rate increase to students enrolling in the student health insurance plan is recommended. This plan provides higher benefits at a significantly lower cost than all other state of Illinois schools with plans that are compliant with the Affordable Care Act. The university seeks the board's approval to award to Aetna Student Health the renewed agreement for the 2023 to 2024 policy year and approves a student health insurance rate of $281 for the fall of 2023 and spring 2024 sessions, and $211 for the summer 2024 session. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Trustee Jones made the motion,
Second.
second by trustee Abakumi. Is there any discussion?
I'll just say, I want to thank Vice President Johnson and also the folks in Student Affairs, Dr. Miller-Schuster, I see you're here, Jason Hartzler, Bob Schulman, our consultant. I don't know if Wendy's here. And is Dawn here? Oh, hello, Dawn. They sat down with me twice and kind of worked me through it and, describe what the PSR, Premium Stabilization Reserve, they do a great job managing the plan, and that's why you don't see a cost to students going up. So I appreciate all the work you guys do.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you so much. Resolution 2023.02/11, authorization to name Center for Performing Arts Dressing Room Dr. Edward and Mrs. Judith Hines, CPA Dressing Room. Dr. Edward and Mrs. Judy Hines have been joyful, engaged, and vocal supporters of the arts at ISU and in the community for many years. Due to a recent gift commitment, it is respectfully requested that the university name one of two large dressing rooms in the Center for the Performing Arts as the Dr. Edward and Mrs. Judith Hines CPA Dressing Room. Naming the space in honor of Dr. Edward and Mrs. Judith Hines is in recognition of their generous financial commitment to the Wansel Kim College of Fine Arts Complex Fund. Dr. Edward and Mrs. Judith Hines have a long and engaging relationship with Illinois State University and the Center for Performing Arts. In addition to their support to the Fine Arts Complex Fund, the Hines established a scholarship in the Redbirds Rising campaign for the Wansel Kim College of Fine Arts through the Civic Choral Excellence Fund Endowment. Dr. and Mrs. Hines have been actively involved with the Civic Chorale since 1982, in addition to chairing the chorale's 50th anniversary. Dr. Hines is an Illinois State University Distinguished Professor of Higher Education. Dr. Hines co-authored the historical paper, Illinois State University Civic Chorale, A Proud Past and a Promising Future, which covered the history, members, and performances of the Civic Chorale. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
I so move.
Motion made by trustee Navarro,
Second.
second by trustee Abakumi. Is there any discussion? I would just personally like to thank them for their contribution, and I'm excited about seeing a name there.
Agreed.
All of those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved.
Thank you. Resolution 2023.02/12, recognition of former trustee Marianne Lauterbach. Whereas in the fall of 1995, the 89th General Assembly of the State of Illinois passed Senate Bill 241, which was sent to and signed by the governor to become Public Act 89-0004, which established autonomous governing boards for 7 state universities as part of a continuing evolution of the state's higher education system. And whereas Marianne Lauterbach was appointed by former Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner to the Board of Trustees of Illinois State University and participated in her first meeting on May 8, 2015. And whereas Marianne Lauterbach accepted her responsibility as a member of the Board of Trustees and a representative of the state and its citizens to govern and to provide direction for the university. Dr. Lauterbach's understanding and appreciation of the values inherent in higher education enabled her to bring a level of expertise to the board that was of great value and appreciated by her trustee colleagues. She served in the Board of Trustees with a high degree of professional integrity to the lasting benefit of Illinois State University. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees expresses its sincere appreciation to Marianne Lauterbach for her tireless efforts as a trustee on behalf of Illinois State University and confers on her the honor and title of Trustee Emerita for her outstanding service and dedication to Illinois State University. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
I so move.
No, trustee Navarro made the motion. Who's the second?
Second.
Second by trustee Abakumi. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved. Mary Ann, can you please come forward?
I was there when they created in '89. Well, thank you. Why didn't you sign it? Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Well, that'll take. I have one made by the Department of Corrections, too.
Thank you. Resolution 2023.02/13, recognition of former trustee Robert Dabsky. Whereas in the fall of 1995, the 89th General Assembly of the State of Illinois passed Senate Bill 241, which was sent to and signed by the governor to become Public Act 89-0004, which established autonomous governing boards for 7 state universities as part of a continuing evolution of the state's higher education system. And whereas Robert Dabsky was initially appointed by former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, to the Board of Trustees of Illinois State University from July 2008 to February 2013. Mr. Dabsky was reappointed by former Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner in 2015 and again by current Illinois Governor J.D. Pritzker in 2019. And whereas Robert accepted his responsibility as a member of the Board of Trustees and a representative of the state and its citizens to govern and to provide direction for the university. Mr. Dobsky's understanding and appreciation of the values inherent in higher education enabled him to bring a level of expertise to the board that was of great value and appreciated by his trustee colleagues. He served the Board of Trustees with a high standard of professional integrity to the lasting benefit of Illinois State University. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees expresses its sincere appreciation to Robert Dobsky for his tireless efforts as a trustee on behalf of Illinois State University and confers on him the honor and title of Trustee Emeritus for his outstanding service and dedication to Illinois State University. I ask for your approval for this resolution.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
I so move.
Motion's made by trustee Navarro,
Second.
second by trustee Ebekumi. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is approved. Unfortunately, Bob could not be here, so I ask that we give him a round of applause.
This concludes the resolutions for today.
I would now ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
I so move.
Second.
I think that the motion was made by trustee Jones and maybe second by Navarro. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved and we are adjourned. Thank you all.